Cracking gang, welcome back to our how-to series where we code a heist script for QBCore and ESX. First things first, thanks so much for everyone's interactions on these videos. I truly do appreciate it. Right, hopping straight into it, we are still working on the interactions on our objects, meaning the objects that we want to interact on when we are heisting, like whatever it might be. If you want to have the script work on maybe a jewelry store, for example, you'd probably have that interaction, not necessarily objects, but locations. But we will be working on objects, which is phone models, specific to the MLO that I'm working on. Right. In our client main, I believe this is where we left off, where we had our event attempting to take an item. Right. As you can see, things look pretty big over here. It's quite zoomed in. And I like to apologize because I did forget to zoom in the code in, I think, the last million episodes. So sorry for that. I hope this is much easier for everyone to see and consume, especially those watching on tablets or mobile phones. Yeah, looking out for you guys. Cool. Let us see here real quick. What do we do? Check to see if the player has the wire cutters or similar object in their inventory. Right. So this would depend on our config, of course, because it would determine the items required. Okay. This config is extremely confusing to me, and I am aware of it at the moment, trust me. Yeah. I'll work on it so we can have it very flush and nice logical. So for now, let's just cram things in where it has to be, and we'll just make it look nice as we get closer to completing it. Right, because right now it is important to get things working first. So we have our items, we have our door unlock, maybe we have our item steal, and that would be some name and amount, and I guess we need to remove a true or a false, right? Yeah, I think that's really good. So we will add that in there as well. So our items, item steal. And this is the item name of the item required to steal the objects in the heist. Okay, that should be good. Right, has item, our item name would be C dot items dot item steal. The amount would be C dot items dot item steal dot amount. And over here we need dot name. Alright, digging deep into these tables. Hell yeah. Okay. I think we need to generalize this a bit more. How can we? I don't think we can. Except for specifying the event name itself, because we can't feed it information from our whatchamacallit, target event. Right, so this will specifically be for the items in our first room. Right, so what are we gonna do? We have to check if the player has an item. So we go to server main and callbacks. Do we have a has item? Yes, we do, because we generalized it. Right, item name and item amount. And we will return has item. We already set it up for ESX and QBCore. QBCore only has the QB inventory set up at the moment, which is perfectly fine. Right, if we don't have the item, we just return. You don't have the required item. Easy enough. However, if we do, we start the minigame. But before we do that, I need to ask the server if we can add an item. Right, so where we have add item if can, I want to do the following. Let us copy this. Okay. And I'll paste it over here. And we will call it can add item. Okay. Can add item is a question. Item name and amount is variables that it takes in. Right. Local source. We don't want give status. Maybe we tell it or rename it to can give, which is a question. Okay. What are we gonna check? We don't care about the heist trigger item here, right? Right, so if it is QBCore framework, what are we gonna do? Right, we don't need that. First, we look at our inventory, and then local can add. We'll just return can add. And we will do the same thing here. Just return can add. Return can add. Let's see over here. Return can add. I guess. I guess over here we could do return false. We don't care about that anymore. Over here we would return false. Okay, let's go through this real quick. If our framework is QBCore, depending on our inventory, we will always return can add. Perfectly fine. Otherwise, if we are on ESX, we will return can add. Otherwise, we return false. Framework none. Maybe we return true. Because if we're on no framework, we have no item requirement. So then theoretically, it could even work standalone. And otherwise, we'll just return false. So if none of the frameworks exist, it'll return false. This is just a safety barrier, or a safety net, if you will. Right. So what will we do? Local. Hello, local. Can add is equal to lib callback of can add item. Is that what it's called? Can add item? It is indeed. Can add. So if we can add, then we will do all of these things. Super simple. Right, local, ask if we can add the item, right? Item steal, item amount. It won't be item steal. It would be items. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay. Ugh. Stage models. Dot models. Why am I doing that? So that we can do the following. If we have stage models and I set the models equal to that, right? If the models is equal to that, and our reward, let's do reward. Is equal to something. Count is equal to something. Maybe we do reward. Reward is a table, item, and count. So we'll do 1, right? And item maybe iron, just to test. Okay, so for 1, we have models, which is the models we interact with. These models give us these rewards, right? Which is which item and the amount of that item we get as a reward. Okay, then in the client, our models is obviously the stage models. Right here we specified number 1 models, right? So we're only grabbing these, and those are the models for the interaction. We will have to retest it, of course. And what do we work on here? I cannot recall. A steal object? Okay, that is fancy to know. Steal object. Basically, what this does, let's give ourselves some notes. Adds item if can. I can't remember how we did this before. Can you imagine? I guess. Let's have that be that for now. I'll figure the rest out later. It is not in our threads. Events. Yeah, trigger minigame. Okay, here we go. Here we go, here we go. Right, we ask if we can add an item. Item steal. Right, attempt to take item. It'll be on those models. Again, I wish we could send data from the triggering target to tell us what model has been targeted on. Okay. Right. Let's do this. For simplicity's sake, let's take away the numbering. We will only have models and rewards. Right? And stage models. I want to call it interactions. Stage interactions. Maybe object interactions. That's a bit better. So let's save that. Stage models. No. Stage interactions dot models. Stage interactions dot models. In the server side, we don't ever call it, so that's fine. So stage object interactions is equal to models and reward. Alright, this is the reward you get from interacting on these models. That way, in our event, we will have can add item, stage models dot reward dot item, and you know what, let's copy that out right there, and stage object interactions dot reward dot count. Okay, so once we interact, we ask the server, can you add the reward item? Just can you add it? It doesn't add it, just can you add it? If it says yes, we can add it, then we trigger the minigame. Else, I guess what we can do is tell it the following. Else, I notify no space to carry your reward. Call it a reward. And error. Right, error, and just return for safety. Right, it's just good practice to do it that way. Right, so that should be that for that logic, right? Because what's happening, we are attempting to take an item. What is happening? We are asking, do you have the required item to actually complete this heist or complete this task? I guess what we can do is if let's give has item another variable. C dot items dot item steal dot remove. Right. So in our server, whenever we call this, we will call a should remove. Okay. Local item is has item. If item, then has item is true. And then if should remove, then we will remove the item. So let's start with QB inventory. Just so that we generalize that function a bit. Right, remove object slot. We might have to do some more work than just that. Get slots by item. That does what? For each slot. Let me just copy that so I don't have to keep looking at it. Right. We have item name. If the item exists, then we have the item. Perfect. If we should remove it, then we get the slot. In the items of the item name. Huh, that's strange. Get item by slot, by name. Get first slot by item. I'd like to do first slot. Let's do first slot. So that we don't get all of the slots, just the first slot, because we're only removing an item. We don't care which one, we're just removing one of them. Right, so what I think I'm going to do is move that outside. Rename that to SRC for source. Right. So what are we going to do? If we have the item, then we get the slot where it is. Items has been registered. Item name is the one we take in. So if slot, then first slot containing the item. Right. Then we will trigger an export to remove the item from the source. What item are we removing? Item name. Amount is item amount. Slot is slot. And reason would be what? Den Heist. Whatever you want to call your script, that is fine. I'm just going to call it Den Heist. And no slot found containing it. That is perfectly fine. I don't mind that. And that should be that for now. Let us do ESXs. Right, I actually haven't opened that yet. That is QBox. My bad. Okay. Let us look at player. Can carry item? No. Can swap item? Has item. Let's see. Item has item. Perfectly fine. Oh. Has maybe get inventory item. This function gets an inventory item. Remove inventory item. That should be sufficient, right? If we have the item, we'll just remove it if we should remove. So let's just copy that. I'm just going to copy it. I'm just going to delete that and delete the slot. Actually, delete all of that because we only need the should remove. If we should remove it, we remove it. Simple. Right, and item name. So basically, ESX is way simpler. We have local player getting our things. Item is whether or not we have the item. If we have the item and the item is equal to item amount, then has item is true. If we should remove, then we remove it. Else we do a bunch of other stuff and we return has item. So that should be that. And then we can just, item steal or, remove it if it has to remove. So because this is a config thingy, in here we set it already if we have to remove the item on use or not. Right. So what we can do is the following. Just set it like that. Do that. My bad. What am I doing? Hello. Hi. Okay, 1, 2, 3. My fingers, so dumb. Name of the item required to unlock the door in the heist. Right. Well, technically, I'm gonna go mad, I swear. Okay. Unique name to identify the item by. Item name of the item required. Okay. And this is the amount of the item required. Oh my lord. Can I stop doing that, please? Thank you. Right. True would be remove on use. False is don't remove on use. Okay. I think we've made some decent progress today. I dig it. Right, because what have we accomplished? We have an item requirement. So, first of all, we're checking if we have the necessary item. If we have the item, we ask, can we add the reward? If we can add the reward, we trigger our minigame. Right? If we are successful in our minigame, we should add the item if can. Right. Add item if can. What will we add? Not our door lock, but we will add our stage object interactions dot reward dot item and our reward count. And if we have successfully given it, that is that, and we continue. Right. And that's that for adding the items, so we can slap that into our completed. We've done quite a bit. I am not sure what we'll do in the next one, because we have a required item. On interact, we trigger police alert if they fail. And yeah, I think right now in the next episode we will just figure out the doors, make them work perfectly fine. Once our stage 1 is complete, we will head over to stage 2. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, truly I do. Have a fantastic day. If you need any support related to the script, there's a specific channel in the imagiNix Studios Discord linked down below, where you can ask any questions related to this particular series. If you have any general scripting queries, there's channels dedicated for those as well. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Cheerio.